Grand Prix. My name is Indigo or Jamie Morris, and I'm joined here today by Steve. And hopefully this time I've turned him up and you can hear him because it's been my part.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Hopefully we're live and Jamie's not actually joking with me this time.
Yeah, we are live, don't we? For those who don't know, basically I pretended to start the live stream and done the intro as I've done now, and Stevan obviously came in and I've tricked him a few times, but yeah, we're actually live and real this time.
Yeah, thank you for having me for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's going to be a different race than usual because, of course, it's the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Grand Prix actually. It's going to be a chaotic one, but a good one.
I agree with you, that one. And qualified is the most important part. And unfortunately, one driver can't take part because I presume he's got a qualifying ban, and that is Mr. CRC Leroy. And what a place to have a qualifying ban. Not where you want it whatsoever around here in the streets of Monaco. But we got the first driver out, and it is ILT Mick, who is in the McLaren, who had their Golf livery, I believe, back in the 2022 season, if I remember correctly. Or 2021, I actually can't remember, even though it wasn't that long ago. But here he is then, Mick. I think he raced in Hungary along with his fellow ILT driver, and he was on course, and I think he scored in the points, and that he was near the podium as well of ILT Bompia back when they were racing in the wet conditions. But we're in the dry conditions for qualifying now. Going on board with Mick to start a qualifying lap as he crosses the line, headed down into San Devotto. Let's see how he takes it into fourth gear. We go slightly misses the apex, but still makes it. Good traction coming out of there. And as we head up the hill towards Beaurivage, now coming into Massenet, into turn 3 we go, that left-hander, trying to keep the minimum speed up. Into this right-hander we go, stays in fifth gear, gets a good exit. There's a bump there, could be watch out for that one. Famous corner where Nico Rosberg back in 2014 parked his car up and prevented Lewis Hamilton and himself from going faster. Who knows who could have took pole. Slowest corner on the calendar here, which is just passed, nicely negotiated. Full lock going into there, very close to the wall at the exit of Portier, but nevertheless still makes it out of there. Coming under the tunnel there where Felipe Massa, Michael Schumacher crashed there under the safety car, I believe it was, but Felipe Massa crashed there in the race as he got front wing damage from Lewis Hamilton then. Ooh, looking so close to the wall without of the Novo chicane, going into Tabac then, into turn 12, left-hander, fifth gear, and now on sort of flat out through here, going into the swimming pool section. You can see the bit of correction going on there from Mick as the back end did step out there. Mick Schumacher also crashed there as well, I think back in 2022 or 2021, I'm quite sure, and Danny Ricciardo did too in the McLaren. Our driver has retired, which is Ken, as Mick is about to cross the line now, which is 11.2 in the McLaren. Can anybody beat it? But Ken unfortunately has crashed out at the exit of Casino Square. I presume he just lost traction on the back end and has hit the wall.
Indeed he did. Mick indeed lost the car in the final sector. The curve on the entry in swimming pool section is a weird one because you can lose the car within if you run over that curve. Astoni now goes faster with a 10.3, but you saw Mick losing the car whilst running over the curb in swimming pool section, so the drivers have to be aware of the curb on the entry of swimming pool.
Indeed, mate, I agree with you on that one. I'm bored with Supermug, and he brushed the wall coming out of turn number 1 there. Got so close to it. I think he managed to escape free, and he was so close to the wall yet again. Going into turn number 6, I believe that was. Coming out of Portier at turn 7, under the tunnel we go at turn number 8. A bit of traffic. Traffic is a well-known factor around here, which can spoil lap time, but thankfully the AlphaTauri has lost his front wing, and Supermug unfortunately has invalidated his lap time. I was about to say, thankfully the AlphaTauri got out of the way, but I saw his broken front wing. So with that AlphaTauri there, I wonder who it was. Then let's have a look who that was, shall we? Oh, Supermug has spun, but nevertheless he invalidated his lap anyway. Thankfully he has avoided the wall. And that is Jeroen Visser, who has broken his front wing here, and he will led back in the pit lane. That's a lap time as well at 11.2, so I wonder if he just broke it on his in lap or something, or gone for a second flying lap. But he's in the pit lane right now, on board with ILT Resify. That's his teammate. No, that's not his teammate. A bit of correction there going for Resify. He had to turn out the corner, and he went a little bit wider than he would have wanted coming out of Raskas there, and now we're going towards the line with Resify. Oh, it's a 10.1. Wow, that's a good lap time there from Res. Plenty more to be found, as he did make a little mistake as I saw it, and he's a few hundreds up on AJ as well. AJ in P2 in the Williams, not the best of qualifiers he's had in the first 2 races, but however he's up top of the timing sheets here along with Leo in P3.
You can clearly see the difference today between the wheel and the pad users, as more than half of the grid are on the wheel, of course, but you have the odd ones who are on the pad still, like Seed, Pyro is still on pad, and Supermug I think is on wheel. But everyone, there's only 2 controller users here, but you can clearly see the difference today here. So Restfire is going fast indeed with a 10.1. People just want to set a careful time for that first run, as you want to set a clean lap with the walls being so close and not taking too many risks on your first and second attempts here. Superbird did spin in this swimming pool section. I think he just lost it in beforehand. Probably ran off the curb slightly too much and yeah, lost the car like that. So like I said, the curbs are deadly around here, so getting a lap is crucial to build up your confidence.
Exactly, and if you validate more laps going, the less confident you'll be, and therefore make even more mistakes on your laps to come. I'm on board with CPI Yuri as he makes his way down towards the Nova chicane, carries a lot of speed through there. You can cut a little bit of the corner there, goes to the Nova chicane. It doesn't validate your lap time like it did last game, but you can be very careful not to take too much of it, of course. 52.3 in the middle sector, they're going into the spot before chicane. That just frightens me a lot. They get super close to the wall. Even Sergio Perez as well, he even touched the tyre barriers with his own tyre, but I think it was last year when he won the Monaco Grand Prix and also Singapore too. Here comes Yuri, across the line he goes. It's a 10.6 in the Alpine. Looks to me he's on the pads. So that explains why he explains to me why he's struggling in general around here, because pad around here is absolutely horrendous, and I know how it feels because I'm on the pad too. I'm more with Steve War Gamer in the Aston Martin making his way out the Nova chicane. Let's see how he takes this left hand. Oh, you can see there hesitated quite a lot going into that corner. You can clearly see his confidence level is not quite high because he's not carrying the speed or gets to the throttle as much as he wants to in that Aston Martin. So we're clearly lacking confidence around here in Monaco. Unsurprisingly, being on the controller as well and the difficulty of the track, and he's about to make his way across the line now. And yeah, 11.7. It is representative because you never know, that could be his best lap if he doesn't find any more time or have any more confidence to improve. I'm on board with Pyro. Looks like he's backed off. He looks like he was on a lap time, but might have backed off or was going for a second push lap. And we see a Red Bull in the wall, and that is Joshua, who has crashed into the wall at the entry towards turn number 5, Mirabeau. Unfortunately there, Joshua just couldn't take the escape road. May carried too much speed than he thought he could make the corner. But what's going on?
Supermurf just ran into the back of Seabear. I think Supermurf was on a lap whilst Seab was just on the cooldown lap, and Supermurf ran into the back of Seab right there in the Raska's hairpin, I think it is. After the corner, just after Joshua retired from the session. So really interesting scenes, and there's times to come, I think, from in the race if this happens in qualifying.
Tensions rising here in ILT. Both of those drivers are in ILT, of course. So the leader is not going to be happy with that one, and of course the leader of ILT is in the party with me. So yeah, words will be exchanged between the ILT boss and the 2 drivers there. But C-Roll Gamer needs to pay more attention if he. Obviously around here in Monaco you need to be 100% focused, otherwise mistakes like that won't happen. And Supermug unfortunately there got caught up in it, as Victor Triago, who missed last week's race, is here. But unfortunately he could still set a lap time because there's plenty of time. But we've got a Red Bull in the middle sector. That is Carl, gets out of the way very nicely there as other drivers start approaching. And you can see I've been on board with a few drivers. They've invalidated or made mistakes, but Troy is about to cross the line and he takes pole with a 9.8, the first driver in the 9s, and Troy has done it by 3/10. It's a Ferrari 1-2 as well, so Ferrari looks like they're having a good time around here in Monaco. I think last Ferrari 1-2 in Monaco was like 2017 as Reservoir there goes off the track in the Nova chicane. He clipped the barrier on the entry there, so there's no way he would have made a corner. But luckily for him, didn't lose his wheel. Otherwise, qualifying would have been done and dusted for him.
Very good lap there. The first driver indeed into the 9s here in this qualifying session, and a 3/10 advantage of Restify, who's just invalidated the run. I'm guessing he's going to start another one since he's going at it again. But very good lap there. I presume that was his second run this qualifying session, but as a clear advantage as there's only 7 drives into the 10s, or 6 drives, sorry, into the 10s, and apart from that the grid, all in the 11s, and people not even able to post laps. So a good lap there from Troye. We makes it a Ferrari 1-2 as Mick. Oh no, Mick has not improved. Someone did improve. I think that's Nathan, who's now going to P8, but also a 10.6. 15,000, not 15,000, 17,000 of Yuri, but that's an okay time, and he's definitely in the mix still for the race.
We've got Bomb here making his way towards the line, goes P9, he does improve his time and it's a 10.6, you can see the massive difference in time here. No surprise given the difficulties of the track. Bob here, I did see him make a mistake going towards turn number 6 of the hairpin. There's a massive wheel spin coming out of turn number 5 and unfortunately just couldn't really hook up the lap together. I just want to see who else is out there on our lap time as we're trying to find somebody. Jack in the Haas has invalidated his lap time. Good tone to it as well. Jack in the Haas, but Resify goes quicker than Troye, and it's a 9.6 for the Ferrari man, and he's also done 2 laps on the same set of soft compound tyres here as well, so that's a mighty lap there from Resify, 2/10 quicker than his teammate in P2. Ferrari are on it here tonight, and they've got the 1-2, but could anybody take it away? We still got AJ down there in P3, unfortunately has invalidated his lap time. Go for a second lap on the same set of softs, and let's see what he could do in the Williams.
Fun fact about the rest of
Oh no!
Also, we're getting quickly interrupted by Indigo reacting to Jeroen retiring in the second sector here. So on board with Yuri now. I think Jeroen just clipped the exit or the inside wall and lost the car, which made him lose his suspension, and he's out of this qualifying session. So he will only start a maximum of P11 here, unfortunately. So that's not an encouraging sign from Jeroen, who also didn't have the greatest race in Brazil, getting his elbows out, and now retiring in this qualifying session. The recent PSGL F4 champion has got it all to do in the race here. I quickly want to talk about Resfai, who's last week practiced for Monaco for LOE, because he thought LOE was Monaco was for LOE that week, but he had Abu Dhabi the previous week, so he has done a lot of practice for Monaco, so hence why the pretty big pace advantage here today.
And I want to talk about AJ, who's just came back to the pit lane because unfortunately on his second flying lap has invalidated at the Novo chicane, so that his lap time is ruined. I'm on board with the Aston Martin of Seaworld Gamer, who is 5/10 up, and that'll put him in P11 unless he can find more time in this last sector. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers have retired. One of them's got a qualifying ban, which is Leroy. 4 of them have crashed on the circuit, and Steve has made his way up into P11 like I said, but did find more time in that last sector by about 4/10 because he was 5/10 up in the middle sector, so only a tenth away from P9 and P10, so all to play for there between the midfield. But you can see quite a lot of retirements, unsurprisingly. I'm intrigued to know what the race is going to be like, because it's going to be chaotic. I presume safety cars will be deciding factor in this race as well. But with 4 minutes left on the clock, Pyro is the only one out there, with Isa Kush yet to set a lap time in the Aston Martin. Both Aston Martins are out there, and Sieb is on his in lap. Isa Kush is on his out lap. Isa Kush unfortunately disconnected from the Brazilian Grand Prix. It was Pyro versus Isa Kush for the win, bearing in mind Isa did have 3-second time penalty, so as long as Pyro stayed within 3 seconds, which was going to be most likely will anyway, Pyro would have won the race. But Isa Kush, the Chinese Grand Prix race winner, taken from Victor Triego, who unfortunately tangled with the midfield after he made his pit stop in China and retired from there. But Victor's retired here at Monaco too, so not a good start to Monaco Grand Prix after missing 1 race. Let's see what Victor could do for P17. But Pyro's now about to make his way towards the Novo chicane. Let's see who takes that on board. Getting so close, but unfortunately has invalidated his lap time, the same place as his Williams teammate, who's about to exit the pit lane, which he has, with both Ferraris on the trail.
You saw on board with Power there. He took a lot of speed into the corner here, just took way too much speed into the corner, which made him invalidated. Unfortunately, he was about 20 thousandths up on his time, so not a lot, but of course you can still gain loads of time in the middle sector here. But he's going for a second run just behind Recify or throw, yeah, behind Recify, who's starting his lap now. He is invalidated this run, so he's going to go for a second run with only 2:30 left here. Paro has started his lap again. Hopefully he can find some time in the first sector. What is he gonna do now with a 19?
He's backed off.
He's backed off and going for another cooldown lap. Seems to be a occurring theme here in this qualifying session, going for multiple outlaps to lower the fuel, so people can do have a bit more space in there.
Yeah, so Resify, he may have validated a turn 1, but he wasn't pushing anyway. So Resify was clearly having the intent of doing 2 laps. So that's everyone's reoccurring theme, like you said, Stevan. 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the clock there. Everybody's going for more than one cooldown lap. And Troye is about to make his way across the line now to start his potential flying lap, depending on how much fuel he's got in the car. Headed into turn 1 here, very crucial to get it right. Use all the curb, gets a very good exit, bit of wheel spin on the exit, but nevertheless still makes it out there very nicely indeed. Going up into Massine now, into 5th gear. We go down into 4th, Casino Square. Exits 3rd gear, gets on the throttle, as you can see there, 18.4 in the first sector, so 300s down, and nerves racking up here, the pressure's intensifying. You can see riding the curve very nicely, rotating the car, using the first gear as well, hugging the inside curve yet again, going into Portier, and going out there in 2nd gear. The Alpine gets very nicely out the way there, as we go under the tunnel now. How much time has Troye found in his middle sector? He needs 2/10 upon his teammate, Resify. Downshifting through the gears here, not invalidating the Nova chicane like we see many people do. Massive wheel spin coming out of the Nova chicane here, going into Tabak in 5th gear, and he's found a 10th up. Can he find one more 10th in this last sector to make up all the time to try and take away pole position from his teammate? AJ has put his Williams into 2nd place. He split both Ferraris. Troye is now making his way out the final corner. Let's see how much time he's found up. Can he take pole position away from his teammate? No, he can't. Look at that, just inches away from Resify, and it's a Ferrari 1-2 yet again, and Resify has invalidated his lap time, so I think he got one more attempt depending on how much fuel he's got left in the car. But Mick in the middle sector, 600s up in that McLaren, but he's far away from pole position, so that's not going to be anywhere near enough to take pole away. But can he improve on P4, I wonder, in that McLaren? DRS enabled then for the Dutchman. It's about to make his way across the line. He hasn't improved, unfortunately. He stays in P4. We've got Leo on a lap time, 2/10 up in the middle sector then, and this 2/10 could be crucial. That could put him into P4 ahead of Mick. How much time is found in this last sector? As you can see there, he hit the wall without to back like Lewis Hamilton did back in 2008, and he hit the wall again. That lap time is definitely ruined for him, but his front wing's still intact, and I wonder will he head into pit lane? No, he won't. He stays out there. Has he lost any time due to that? Oh, yes, he has, definitely, for sure. He's out.
Pushing a bit too much here in the final sector here, hitting the ball a couple of times, and if he just took it a bit more careful, he would have been ahead of Mick. He knew he wasn't going to beat AJ because the gap is 6 tenths here, so just pushing a bit too hard here. Can understand why he went for it, but this just cost him P4, unfortunately. So Mick will get P4. I was on board with Troye, and he is a controller user from how he steers. So very impressive qualifying there from Troye. If he's on the wheel, I do apologize, but his steering did look like he's on the path. So very impressive lap there from Troye.
I agree with that one. It's so hard to hook up a lap around here in Monaco on the controller, but like you said, that is a very impressive lap from Troye, and he's up into P2. It's a Ferrari 1-2, and the last time Ferrari had pole 1-2 here in Monaco, I think it was 2017 with Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. I think it was Raikkonen who took pole and Vettel won the race. I'm not quite sure. They definitely switched. I think Vettel did the overcut on Raikkonen. That's how he's able to do. That's how we're able to get in front of him and win that race. But yeah, good job there from Resify. Also good job there to Troye on the controller too. AJ in P3 after 2 dismal qualifying sessions in Brazil and the first race, which I can't remember, China. He's put it into P3, and his teammate in P6. The championship leader is in P6 there. Not everybody's favourite track. You can see the big names outside the top 10, such as Walter, Issa, Kush and Giroud. Not a place you expect them to be down in P13, P14 and P15. They've got a lot of work to do up here. It's going to be an interesting Monaco Grand Prix for the next 39 laps of this race. We'll see how it goes. But Resify is your man on pole, separated by 300s from Choye, AJ P3. A big gap between P3 and P4, which is 5/10, unsurprisingly around here at the streets of Monaco. But we'll see how it is coming up to the race.
Indeed, indeed. It's going to be a very interesting sight to see what's going to happen here. Everything's possible here with the walls being so close here around Monaco. So every driver should just keep going. Even though there won't be a lot of safety cars here. I've seen a lot of races around Monaco where there's been so many crashes, but the safety car just won't come out here. So is that a thing for Codemasters? I don't know what they, how they coded this game, but drivers can't rely on safety cars here. Just have to keep going and keep it out of the walls.
It's going to be very hard to do that. One lapse of concentration, that's you in the wall, unfortunately. You've got to stay focused at 100% of all times, and that's going to be quite difficult. But we'll see the tyre choices. Will people go for the hards? Will they go for the mediums, knowing that a safety car is likely to appear? But like you said, due to the glitches around there, safety car might not appear, but we'll see. Hard is a very hard tyre is a very good stint because you go for a long way on the hard compound tyres, reduce your medium stint and reduce the tyre wear, get the best grip at the end of the race. But we'll see if anybody decides to go for the medium compound tyres. I won't be surprised at all because people need to make up those positions in the early stages of the race. Total P's, Ferg, Kyle, nice to see you all in the chat. Everybody that's just everybody here, welcome from tier 2. And this is tier 1. Resify is on pole ahead of Choye. It's a Ferrari 1-2. Something we have said for quite a while since Bahrain. Hello Nacho, how you doing, mate? I hope you're doing alright. Hope you're doing well, Ferg.
Welcome to the stream. As people are now starting to go out for their formation lap here around a cloudy Monaco GP today. I've seen, of course, many races recently where the sun hasn't been out around Monaco, where it's actually been raining, like the last edition of the Monaco Grand Prix here. But Resify seems to be going rather quickly instead of waiting for others to catch up. He's just going quickly towards the starting grid. I don't know why he's that, but interesting strategy. He clearly wants to get the tires in a good operating window, as Wouter and Victor and Ken have all been disqualified for making contact probably, or spinning out. I don't know what the reason is, but they're gonna have cold tires at the start of this Grand Prix.
Indeed, especially Ken on those hards and Wouter as well. Victor Triego on the medium compound tyres. Nacho, this is Stevan in the chat. You usually don't hear him because I have him turned all the way down, but I just remembered that I had to turn him all the way up. So this is Stevan, everyone, even if you don't recognise the voice.
Nacho man, we've known each other for quite a while now, from the league KRL. Jamie did race in that, so and we've gone a long way, man, honestly.
You can see both Ferraris there, P1 and P2, splitting the strategy. Undercut is powerful around here too, so you can make the wise decisions. Worst thing you can do is rejoin the traffic as well, because that will definitely cost you the race. No matter how slow you are, like with regard to anybody, if you can hold somebody up all race long, and that could be really painful if you race. You're going to make the right strategy course to ensure that doesn't happen, and it'll end up behind people that are not well, really quick. But anyways, the lights are about to go out. I can't really have the best camera angle, and 5 lights are out, and away we go then as we head towards Sandavort. I presume Resify's got a good start with the mediums, but look at that! Choye's got a better start. He moves, there's a collision, it's turn number 1 with the Alpine, and that was Pyro going sideways into turn number 1. But nevertheless, they all make it out unscathed. Few position changes with IoT, Bumpy and Nathan switching positions. Jeroen and Joshua exchanging positions further behind as well. The Williams there getting out of shape. You can see the Alpine behind the AlphaTauris. Leo gets a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting as there's been a safety car on lap 1 because the Mercedes of Walter has retired from this race. And guess what? Giroud's lost his front wing yet again, so he must have been caught some first lap shenanigans. And Leo there getting a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. I wonder where that is, because that could be a turn 1, otherwise it would have popped up earlier than that. But however, Choye on the hard compound tyres has got the jump on his teammate, and Reservoir will be absolutely fuming because he's on the medium compound tyres. He has to pull away from the hard runners to make sure his strategy works. So Choye then has the upper hand in front.
Certainly indeed, you clearly saw the path start has clearly worked to Troye's benefit, because Reservoir just didn't get any traction here, and Troye on the harder tires just got way more grip. Leo indeed got a 5-second penalty. I don't know what the exact reason was. He probably cut the inside turn of turn 1. We saw Evans lose his front wing. Wouter with a second straight retirement, that is. As Evans is now retired, actually. He locked up going into the swimming pool section, and that's the second DNF now of this Monaco Grand Prix. Jeroen is now also into the pits for a new front wing here, so an awful start to the season here for Jeroen.
Giroud and Walter, awful starts to the season for both of them, unfortunately. Walter having that spin at the Brazilian Grand Prix, never got going from there, unfortunately. And Monaco, well, it's a hard track anyway. Unfortunately for Joshua as well, has pitted, or has retired, and Giroud further down the field has retired as well. So not the, well, in the pits actually, but not the start they want. First three, oh, Troye almost lost it. Coming out of Portier, I hope he hasn't lost his front wing. I think he has got it intact still, but that was a very scary moment there for Troye. And look at that then, he's struggling going into the Novo chicane, get his teammate right in the back of him. So Troye then just needs to settle down now. Those hards might be not getting up to temperature as he needs them to be, but he has the track position, which is most crucial around here. It's so hard to overtake on the Monaco Grand Prix, but now his teammate's crawling over the back of him. What's Reservoir's plans to overtake him? I wonder. Will he try a dive anyway? He's got to try a dive. He can't be alongside. You've got to make the move, but I think they're swapping positions. Yes, they are. Troye has let Reservoir go, so he's played the team strategy here. He's not going for pure pace, and he's let his teammate go. That's very interesting then. Team play going on to Ferrari here, and they're working together to pull away from the rest of them. I've got a nice 1.4 second gap over AJ, who's under pressure there from Leo.
Very interesting indeed, as this is a, of course, a single driver championship, but nice to see they do take the Constructors Championship into play here, and they're certainly doing a better job than Ferrari did in real life, where both drivers just did an awful strategy here from Ferrari, just by calling in Leclerc into the pits when Sainz was clearly in the box. So the strategy in the game is way better than in real life, but the rest of us are using those tires to full advantage, being nearly a second clear here. And AJ seems to be struggling a bit as well, and not able to keep up with Troye here, as he's 1.7 behind and has Leo 5 tenths behind him, and then Nick another second behind him.
What a move from Pyro there. The championship leader has overtaken ahead Bompier, and that was done on the Nova chicane. But Pyro was late on the brakes, and he was going wide, going into Raskas. Saying late on the brakes, he's late on the brakes once again, but in the bad way. And he scraped the wall, but hopefully hasn't sustained any front wing damage. Supermug, however, is right in the back of Carl here. Needs to an ILT, his teammate ahead of him as well. We'll see how this unfolds. You can see Superbug has much more pace. Is he going to try one in Massenet? No, he's not. He's too far behind. That's a risky move there. And you can see there Mick struggling just ahead of him. And you can see there, will Carl try and make a move down the inside? No, he won't. He's too far behind, but gets a little tap there from Supermug. And this battle's all over the place, but it's just so difficult to overtake in any part of the track here. Pyro's got a chance to close in, while these guys are scrapping in the dirty air of each other as well. But Reservoir then on the medium compound tyres has opened up the gap, as you expect. On the faster tyres, it's 1 second now between Troye and Reservoir, and Troye will have his chance later in the race once those mediums start fading away, and the hards will come into play very shortly in the race. He could play his cards right, wait patiently until those mediums start fading away. He's got the tyre advantage as well, has Troye, and the gap will extend ever now till once those tyres start to go away. But the battle intensifies in the midfield once again. They're just all bunched up so far behind. Supermug essentially pushing the Red Bull in the corners there. Very careful not to tap at the back of him. All having DRS, which is useless around here. No point of having it because it does nothing for you other than 5 extra kilometers an hour down the straight, which is nothing because the guy ahead of you have DRS, essentially carrying the same speed down the straight. No advantage for any of you there. But Superbug is so close to the Red Bull. They're going side by side in Macedon now. They're so close, they're almost touching wheels. They're going into Casino. Carl has the upper hand, but will Superbug try one down the inside? Yes, he will. He will squeeze one down the inside there, going into the hairpin next. Carl has the inside line. Superbug then, not enough space to go down the inside, going into the hairpin there. But it's putting Carl under so much pressure here. I don't know how Carl's managed to cope with this. It's so easy to lose concentration when having another car at the back of you. But Superbug, has he got enough straight line speed? How much downforce has got in that car? Will it slow him down then as we go on into the Novo chicane? Carl has it covered. Puts the car in the middle of a track, but doesn't get a decent exit. You can see Mick there has the bad exit as we go into back then. Superbug is down the inside, and Mick has lost his front wing. Unfortunate for him, he's crashed into the wall at the exit to back. I was about to say 2-pack then, but Mick then has dropped down the field now as he gets out of the way for everybody. But what a move there from Superbug as he moves up into P5, gains 2 places at the expense of Mick as he heads into the pit lane. Unfortunately for him.
Very good battling between Supermug and Carl right here, running side by side in corners that you usually wouldn't expect here, and you saw Supermug making a lovely move down the inside there, and then a couple of seconds later you saw Mick completely destroying his front wing.
Oh!
Sorry. More battling. What happened?
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Carl lost traction coming out of Casino there. Unfortunately, well, he hasn't dropped any places, but he was so close to losing one to Pyro, but saved the car just in time. He stays in P6 for the time being, but you can see all these drivers, even the medium compound tyres, are struggling for traction, and that's what's costing them quite a lot. I saw Bumpy in the background there, Portier also going wide at the exit of that corner, which will put Nathan in the back of him very shortly soon as well. So you can see a lot of drivers then in these early stages of the race really struggling for traction here, sliding all over the show. And look at that, you can see the Red Bull car then scraping the wall. You can hear him scrape the wall too. I was on board with Pyro there. Bounced over the curb as well. You can see Pyro almost losing the car. A bit of movement in the Williams there as he bumped over the curbs. But yet again, DRS enabled for all these drivers then. It's interesting because even though Monaco is a boring race, it's very interesting to see all these drivers struggling there, fighting the car all over the place. It's all about survival, about concentration. As Yuri on the back of Nathan all over the back of that Alpha Tauri is putting pressure on Bob here as well. Sieb and Isa Kush is in the pit lane onto the hard compound tyre. So that's an early pit stop. It must be a strategic call. Did you see him go to the pits? Did he change his full wing? Did you see?
Isa didn't change his wing, he's just gone for an alternative strategy here, going on the hard tire right now. He probably picked up damage because I don't see a reason why you should pit that early on from the medium tires. So I expect he's got a little bit of damage, as you can see on board with him now. He's just running a little bit wide everywhere, getting the tires up to right temperature as well. But a alternative strategy we're seeing from Isatkush. Maybe he knows something that we don't.
Maybe the hard tyres can go to the end now, and that's why he's done it, to avoid all the traffic. He knows he can't overtake around the streets of Monaco, so he might as well do the massive overcut. And once the guys ahead of him pit, he would manage to get ahead of him on the pressure tyres he has for the time being. Then, so that's maybe a strategy. But Ken, the man who's lost in last place, is up into 14th now, and he's putting big pressure on Leroy, who had a qualifying ban. And he's also fighting on the back of Jack, who's on the hard compound tyres. That's why they're so close up. But DRS enabled then on board with the same Mercedes man, but he's just too far back as always. Try and make a move on. Oh, he's at the back of him, and thankfully did not get sent to a spin. And Leroy there was able to save the car. Ken unfortunately carried too much speed there, maybe too much there, not noticing that Leroy was struggling into turn number 1. And Ken was more brave on the throttle than Leroy was, and that's why he hit the back of him and unfortunately collided. But thankfully no damage sustained, unless it's very minor, of course, maybe from Ken's point of view, because he did hit the back of Leroy. But they're still continuing in this race, and they've just lost a lot of time towards Jack, who's able to pull away out of that battle now and lead those two to it for 13th and 14th place. However, the gap at the front remaining the same, roughly about 1.5, 1.6, 1.4 seconds between those guys there. Leo is closing up, but Steve, however, has made a move on Yuri. We'll see how that unfolded, unless Yuri's made a mistake, because yeah, it looks like Sieb's got further ahead.
Rest into the pits. Rest making an early stop right here. Another early pit here today. He's gone for a full wing change. Redfire had front wing damage here, so that could maybe explain his lack of pace, or he picked it up earlier, or just now, and then he went to the pit straight away. I just managed to catch Sieb overtaking Yuri here. Sieb went around the outside, Yuri defended the inside, but then Yuri just ran over the sausage curve here, which made his car bounce over to the exit here, and Sieb did a sort of switchback move as Victor's out of the session here, retiring into the pits here, but Sieb just did a lovely patient move there and is now up to P9 and is currently following Nathan and Bompy here, who is Bompy is about 3 seconds behind Pyro here, so these three are just gonna have a lovely patient battle here, all on the medium tires.
Pyro, however, picked up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately for him, as you just mentioned him there on stream. And where has specified he's rejoined down in P14 then, so he's got the pace as you can see, but once you've got pace, having pace is another thing, overtaking is another challenge, and Reservoir's picked up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately for him. He's definitely got pace on his hands tonight, but if he catches those guys, how difficult it's going to be overtake those guys. Nathan is in the pit lane then on the medium compound tyres. I think it may be a routine pit stop. I don't think he's got any front wind damage from what I've seen. Yep, it's just a routine pit stop. Going for the undercut, I presume, on his fellow medium runners. Supermug, Carl, Pyro, although they're too far ahead, but I think the likes of Bob, Pierre, Sieb, and Yuri as well. So let's see if he rejoins. QRT Leroy's in the pit lane as well. There's the Aston Martin coming, and that's Isaac Kush, the man you mentioned, who pitted very early in this race, has got ahead of Nathan.
Very interesting to see so many different strategies here compared to Tier 2, where we saw a lot of guys just staying out way longer, but now we see guys pitting after 8 or 9 laps, and that's quite interesting to see. As Leo has gone straight on, it's got a multiple warning. I don't know what happened to AJ here. He's lost a lot of ground here. Maybe you called that, Jamie?
I only caught the aftermath, but before I went on board with those two, Leo was 8 tenths behind AJ, but something must have happened to AJ. I think he might have lost it on his own, and Leo was just there to collect him, unfortunately for him. I don't think they were bastard. They weren't side by side because they were 8 tenths behind, but I think AJ made a slight mistake there, and Leo was there to, I don't know, maybe collect the pieces. But it looks like they both escaped free without any damage, it looks like. And Leo has gained from that. He's moved up into second place. AJ's lost 2 places. Supermug is ahead of him now, and that's cost AJ a lot of time, but Supermug won't be there for long, I presume, because it's on the medium compound tyres. And talk about a medium runner, Bob Pierce into the pit lane. He was fighting Nathan, and let's say we rejoice. There's Isaac Kush, and where's the AlphaTauri Nathan? Too far behind for good measure, so the undercut attempt on for Nathan hasn't worked, and Nathan there has made a big mistake coming out of turn number 1, because he's just lost a lot of time. And Mick will be all over the back of him soon. The man who pitted early in this race after crashing into Tabak, and now he's got a lot of ground to make up after starting P4 in the race as well, as Nathan's caught Bob Pierre very quickly, as you expect, because Bob Pierre's still got his tyres to warm up, so Nathan will be all over the back of him, and he just hit the back of him too for good measure, so too close for comfort there for Nathan. But if he gets good traction out of Portier, Bob Pierre won't have good traction due to cold tyres. He might have a good run going down to Nova chicane, which he does do. They're going side by side in the tunnel, and they both crashed as well. Nathan's in the wall, and he's lost his part of his front wing as well. Bit optimistic there from Nathan. Don't think Bob Pierre expected that either. And there's a bit of the sparks coming out of that barrier too. I don't know if you can see it there.
I don't know, Jamie, but I just want to mention quickly Isaac Kush, who was 3.5 seconds ahead of Bombier, and Bombier was running in a provisional P9, so Isaac Kush has run all the way down from, I think he was P14, P15 to now a top 10 professional placement at the moment, and with Reservoir having a penalty, you never know. He could be moving up all the way to the top 6 even, because the medium runs are going to stay out for at least, I think, 1 or 2 more laps before they're going to start deciding to make a pit stop.
I'm on board with Ken as he's trying to overtake the ass of Jack, who's on the older hard compound tyres. He did hit the back of him coming out of turn number 1, I think it was, but managed to escape free. He knows on the fresher tyres, but like I said, Monaco is such a difficult place to overtake. As long as you keep your car on the road and keep it in the middle of the track, you've got to keep your teammate behind, or the rival behind, for as long as possible. So it's going to be even more frustrating for Ken to overtake the Haas of Jack. And he's going to keep the Haas go in front for quite a while, as on the hardcore powered tyres too. So Ken will desperately try to find a way to overtake the Haas there, because Reservoir will be catching up very quickly as well. We know the pace he's got around here in Monaco, especially with the broken front wing. He tapped in the back of Massenet, as I remember the last lap. But yeah, he's struggling to find a way past. There's no way past whatsoever unless you force one up the inside like he tried to do on the previous lap. But is he close enough on this occasion to go for it down here? No, he's not. Unfortunately for him, he's too far behind as always. But yeah, it's so frustrating this track. If you're on fresher tyres, it's just so frustrating trying to overtake. Even Max Verstappen tried it on Lewis Hamilton back in 2019, but it didn't pay off. They actually came together at the No Fresher Chicane back in 2019, when Hamilton won it for the great Niki Lauda as well, who unfortunately passed away. But Ken all over the back of the Haas once again, but he's too far back to make a move going into No Fresher Chicane, so nothing will happen here for the time being. We'll have better traction on the Haas, of course, but nothing doing there. He's just not alongside or close enough to make any sort of moves. And Reservoir is catching up very quickly. The gap was 2.3, now it's 1.7 as Pyro is in the pit lane to make his first stop. And we'll see where he rejoins as well, as we're fighting with the likes of Nathan and etc. He had a big gap over them too, so will he have lost it? Or will he have stayed ahead of them? But Ken, can he use the DRS to his advantage to make an overtake into turn 1? No, unfortunately just too far back to make a move. Reservoir catching ever so closely as Isaac Kush has overtaken Pyro. So the early pit stop here for Isaac Kush has worked beautifully into the hands of the Aston Martin, as he's able to move up into P10. And there's a yellow flag because an AlphaTauri of Javu Vizza has hit the wall and lost his end plate for good measure too. So his race is just dissipating all the time, unfortunately for him. Still in this race, by the way, but safety car hasn't made an appearance, which is surprising due to the amount of incidents we've had in this race so far. But Ken, the man who started in last place, is currently in 8th place, so this is a good drive from the Mercedes driver too. He's just ever so frustrated getting past the Haas there. Gets so close, but yet so far. Just can't find anywhere to overtake him. The Haas making that car very wide as much as he can, but Ken just can't do anything about it, unfortunately for him, as Yuri is in the pit lane as well from P6. We'll see where he rejoins as Reservoir is right behind him. Ken, I mean.
Indeed. As Reservoir actually picked up another 3-second penalty, so that will play into the hands of Isaac Kush even better. Interestingly, AJ has lost a little bit of pace here. He was he was fairly close to Super Murray, about a second, but now the gap is 1.3 seconds even, and Carl is getting quite close. He's 1 second behind, so Carl having good performance, as Jeroen has unfortunately retired in the pits here. Not an ideal race for him at all here, so he's called it quits here today here. But Carl is having some good pace here. He's getting fairly close to AJ, which is quite surprising, as you would expect the harder tires to be in a better window than the medium tires right now. But good job from Carl and Supermug, who's in the top 3. As talking about Supermug, he's now making his pit stop here.
Oh, Ken scraped the wall coming out off the back there. Just managed to scrape it with his tyres, not his front wings, so kept that intact. But it's... Oh! Jack's locked up into Rascas there, and unfortunately gone wide. Ken's at the back of him, and I hope he hasn't got any front wing damage there. That's unfortunate for Jack if he has. Jack just misjudged his braking zone there. On the brakes too early, but here comes the Alfa Romeo, and look at Ken. He's going to be alongside him, and Supermug's tyres are cold. That's what explains why he got a poor traction coming out of turn 1. You can see him sliding there, and he's rejoined ahead of Reservoir, which is very important, as those two were racing for track position earlier. Reservoir obviously pitted for a brand new front wing, that's why he lost a lot of time behind Supermug. But Reservoir will be happy that Supermug is behind these two on older tyres, and that's going to be a massive pain for them if they can't overtake him. But Ken, he'd be happy that the Alfa Romeo didn't get in between them, otherwise the Haas would have one corner between him and them. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting now. Can Reservoir use his newest boys? Warmer tyres, you can see Supermug there out of shape into the tunnel, just not able to pick up the throttle as the tyres are so cold. But once those tyres start to warm up, he'll be fine. The Aston Martin are getting all wrong in the background. That was Isaac Kush. And the Ferrari there just hit the wall once again going into back there. And yeah, he's... all we can see there, bounced over the curves quite a lot. Supermug was able to pull away thanks to that. But Jack making these guys frustrated right behind him. And not only him, his teammate as well in the other Haas, holding up the guys behind him, Mick and Sieb, all in IRT of course, those three. So better keep it clean because the big boss is watching here. But Supermug got a brand new set of the hard compound tyres then, 15 laps younger. How easy or how hard it's going to be to overtake these guys here. But again, bearing in mind he was fighting for a podium, so he can't afford to make contact with these guys. If he does, that's his chances of podium gone, despite these guys being on all the tyres. Would you agree with that one, Stevan?
Yeah, the race is really going to spice up now as the top four are all just going to pull away from Jack and Ken here, as Supermug and Restfire and Isaac Kush are all getting held up as Nathan retires in the pits. So both AlphaTauri are now out of the race here. A weekend to forget for AlphaTauri here. But yeah, Supermug and Restfire are just getting stuck here. And don't expect Jack and Ken to pit any moment now, as now we're seeing Carl make a pit stop here. Will he rejoin compared to the other guys?
That's interesting because the more Supermug gets stuck behind these guys, the more Carl is able to pull away. So let's see how that's played into his hands as Ken is in the pit lane. So that's one less car to worry about. But where's Carl going to rejoin in all of this? Will he rejoin ahead of these guys? Well, I don't think he was too far close anyway. I think he's rejoined behind these three. Supermug there. And there's a McLaren who's just spun, and that's Mick going out at the final corner. As I'm on board with Supermug, he's going to make his move down the inside. That was so close to making contact there between those two, and he just Jack stayed in P4 for the time being. Isaac Kush, however, has caught Reservoir massively. He's 2 tenths behind him now, so that's going to be very interesting to see how that battle unfolds between those two, despite Isaac Kush being on 2 lap all the tyres. And Supermug there taking different lines, desperately want to get past the Haas, but there's nothing doing there. Better traction coming out of here, big slipstream going down the Norfolk chicane. Will he outbrake him going into the Norfolk chicane here? We'll see. Using the ERS to good use. He's going to go down the inside. No, he doesn't, thinks about it, but he's too far behind. Jack also late on the brakes as well, which stops Supermug from making a move here. But so where can Supermug make a move? His best bet's down at turn number 1, unless you want to do a Charles Leclerc back in 2019 and overtake a Raskas. See what happened to him. He clipped the inside barrier there and had a puncher and retired from the race back in 2019. People try and make a move down the inside the Karun Chandok back in 2010, I think it was, and was it Timo Glock? I'm not quite sure who it was. I can't actually remember.
Here, interestingly, so he thinks he can't make it work as he's getting for another front wing here. Sorry to interrupt you, Jamie, but this is an interesting call from Westfire, who thinks he's gonna get more damage if he stays out with that broken front wing here. He will now rejoin behind Mick here. Even Pyro is all of a sudden down in P14. I don't know what happened to him, as actually Mick is now retired in the pit. So Westfire is now the last runner, making it our 6th retirement of the session today. As Westfire is now last, who was ahead of Troy at some point, who's now leading the Grand Prix. So amazing turn of events here today.
I'll tell you what though, Jack is doing a fantastic job keeping Supermug right behind him. The pressure he has to sustain in the race to keep driver on brand new tyres around the streets of Monaco, the amount of concentration you have to put into this as well, not making any mistakes coming out the corners. He's done a fantastic job, is Jack. I'm going to give credit to him being on all the tyres as well, but behind a driver who's very quick on newer tyres as well, so that's a fantastic job. Sully, however, this could be trusted information. Sully's just said Jack is waiting for the rain. Is it going to rain around here in the streets of Monaco? It doesn't look like it. The sun is starting to pop out just a bit there, but anything could happen.
Could be.
Look at this, Supermug is going side by side with Jack up the hill towards Casino, and they got squeezed against the wall in Supermug, but thankfully no contact was made furthermore to damage his front wing. That was very scary indeed. Supermug got a brilliant exit coming out of turn number 1 there, able to go side by side with Jack, but Jack just had the race in line and took his position or kept it, but Supermug's going to go down the inside. Contact was made inevitably. That is a tight corner there, and I don't think Supermug was close enough to make a move on Jack there, because Jack had the race in line and stayed ahead in P4. But that's able to bring Isaac Kush into the mix, and QRT Leroy has retired from this race, and that's on the track as well. Is that down at Mirabeau? No, that's too far behind.
Josh got retired in qualifying, so another race to forget for Leroy, unfortunately. Just making it very difficult. So AJ is now into the pits here. Is he gonna rejoin ahead of Jack? He isn't, because he's got a front wing change. As the championship leader gets a 3-second penalty and down in P12 here. But this is over from AJ here, who's now going to rejoin behind all these guys down in P9, P10 even, I reckon. Yeah, there you go, down in P10 from where he was before. Incredible scenes here.
It's on a brand new set of medium compound tyres. 18 laps he has to take them. I don't think he'll make any positions here, because judging by Supermug and Jack 15 laps all the tyres is able to keep fast drivers behind him, and yeah, I don't think anybody can get through on all the tyres. Look at that, Jack's gone wide coming out the slowest corner there, but keeps it on the road. Supermug knows he's got a chance with the fresher tyres he has, better traction, but Jack's got more ERS in comparison to Supermug. His ERS saving has been fantastic as well, so he's able to use that on the straight here, which inevitably keeps him ahead of Supermug. And there's a massive train forming up right behind Supermug there. Supermug will be very careful not to pick up any penalties, because he's using a lot of curbs here, riding the curbs too much and cutting them, so be very careful not to pick up any penalties. And Sonny's just told me rain is inbound in 10 minutes. Sonny must be in a party with Jack here.
Ooh. Indeed, indeed. This is playing perfectly into the hands of Leo, who's got 8 seconds of penalties here. The 5 seconds penalty he had early on from the start of the Grand Prix, and then the 3 seconds penalty with the collision with AJ here. But this is gonna play out nicely into the hands of Leo here, whose tires must be coming near the end. But Jack, that's why Jack is staying out, because there's apparently rain coming. So Supermug wants to pass him, it's really possible, but Jack is making the Haas, the widest Haas there's ever been.
Look at that, just a train of cars right behind the Haas here, who's causing a massive headache to the guys right behind. Leo, you don't even have to stretch it out to the rain if you don't want to. You can pit right now and still rejoin ahead of these guys and use the mediums to his advantage to pull away and help him in the rain. But here comes Supermug down the inside. Jack might have to go off the track there, which he does, and he gets him down for 3-second time penalty. As Supermug has finally been released, Jack lets him go. I don't think Jack's tyres are really helping him. Leo is in the pits as well. Jack lets Supermug go, and now Isa Kush will have to deal with the Haas. Supermug will be finally relieved to get the Haas out of the way, but Supermug has spun. He may have hit the inside barrier like Charles Leclerc did back in 2019, and all that hard work Supermug put in to overtake the Haas has finally disappeared. And now Jack is back up into P3. There's Bumpy, his teammate in P6. There's massive queue forming up behind the Haas here. Everybody get in line. And look at the Williams spot positions as well. That was AJ ahead of Yuri. That's the Alpine, sorry, not the Williams. Both similar colours, of course. But Yuri must have lost it coming out of turn 1. AJ slipped through on the medium compound tyres. Keep an eye on AJ, by the way. He's on the medium compound tyres. A brand new set of meds. He'll be very quick. But as you can see there, very close. And look at this. There's a Red Bull going up the inside of the Aston Martin, but not quite working out. And AJ is trying to make a move on the Aston Martin to the other one, and there's a yellow flag down there.
Oh, session on the exit of Casino Square, unfortunately retired. Our pole sitter is out of the session, as now Troy is making pit stop here, as one Ferrari retires, one is making his pit stop here. Where we join quite comfortably ahead of Leo here, who is about 8 seconds ahead of Jack, who's regained his P3 here, and again just keeping Isatkush right behind him, and Carl with so many laps fresher tires than both guys here, as Jack is now going to the pits here. Jack has made the decision to go into the pits here, as his tires are really starting to wear out here. He was probably near puncture territory here, as Isatkush now up to P3. So we were talking about Isatkush here making a special undercut here, and it has certainly worked. But he will now have Carl, Bumpy and Seep all following him, and AJ on those fresh mediums trying to gain as many positions as possible.
Isaac Coach managed to avoid all the traffic, but now he's got all the traffic right behind him after making that early pit stop in the race to do the undercut on all these guys. Paid off for him, but now he's having to work extra hard, double time here to keep all these guys behind. He hasn't got a penalty, unlike last week where he did in Brazil, But this time, can he get on the podium? He's, of course, still got a long way to go on these tyres, by the way, they're hard. So as long as the rain comes, hits hard on the circuit. However, AJ on those mediums has got past C-Roll Gamer, the other Aston Martin, up the inside there, and takes P6. But AJ is flying on these medium compound tyres. Once the rain hits, his tyres will be in the best conditions once the rain starts to impact the circuit. And therefore, will it be easier to overtake these guys? But Yuri has spun in an unusual place. It's usually after the corner, but well, it's an easy place to spin there because you can lose it very easily coming out of that corner. And Daniel Ricciardo's lost it there back in 2022. AJ all over the back of the Haas of Bompier, not Jack this time. Jack on a brand new set of mediums. He rejoins down in P11. Having to work extra hard to overtake these guys. 3 cars right ahead and barely separated by a second. Bompier spun. He may have got tagged by AJ. And unfortunately has dropped into P10, and there's a bit of carbon fibre as well that came off the car, so a trip to the pits will be necessary there for Bompier.
Quickly to interrupt here, Jamie, we're gonna have rain any moment now from our engineer in the chat here. So this race is far from over yet here, because there's still 14 laps to go after Troy has crossed the line, and we're gonna see some rain. Are we gonna see the intermediate tires being used? Troy is at an 11.9 fastest lap, it's 6.5 seconds ahead of Leo here. We can't match his pace here, but this race is totally gonna spice it up here, because it will for sure be bound any moment now.
AJ on those medium compound tyres will have the best grip out there once the rain starts to impact the circuit. Ken is in the pit lane. Interestingly, only 7 laps on those medium compound tyres, plus the hard damage on those tyres. Not going on the inters yet because it's not raining yet, so you don't want to burn them out straight away like Raikkonen did back in 2009 in Malaysia. But yeah, AJ right at the back of the Red Bull there, having the extra grip he has, extra speed in the corners. That's why I made contact with Bompier, because Bompier was carrying less speed and because he had less grip on the tyres. But yeah, will AJ make it through? Red Bull of Carl up on the back of the gearbox of Isak Kush there, essentially pushing him through the corners. That's how close it is between those guys. All these guys in the frame of one shot here. Cover a blanket all over them, they're separated by nothing. But Carl has got a decent exit coming out of Portier now. Is he able to get him down into Nova Chicane? No, he's not. Will AJ try a special move like he did on C4 Gamer? No, he can't. He's too far back on that occasion to make any sort of move going into there. And they're coming out of the Nova Chicane once again, then into the back. Another difficult left-hander. So easy to hit the wall on the outside. It's this fast left-hander, right-hand. They've taken too much curb, and there's a Haas of Jack. Jack has gone out of this race, unfortunately for him, after all this time holding up these guys, and he's lost it on his own this time. Oh, that's a shame there for Jack. He was doing so well there on those medium compound tyres. Unfortunately, he is out of the race. And Solly there, hopefully you stay in the chat with us to be our race engineer, because we have no idea what's going to happen if rain's going to impact the circuit any longer.
Indeed, indeed. There's still a massive gap here, and the fight for P3 is really special right now. Isak is really struggling on his tyres compared to Carl and AJ here, and AJ wants to use his mediums to full effect here, as Superberg is also closing up that gap again after his little spin here. He could have been clear of this battle if he didn't spin here, but he's now down in P7 and still able to get a potential podium here, because AJ has got a 3-second penalty here, and Carl could make a mistake in the race, you never know, so he just should stick with it. And of course the rain could influence it any moment now.
All this pressure these drivers are having to soak up as well, all the concentration needed to keep it on the track. Imagine it's unbearable. But Isak Kush bounced over the curbs. Will Carl fancy a move? No, because Isak Kush plants it in the middle of the track like you always want to do in the streets of Monaco. No matter how old your tyres are here in Monaco, it's so difficult to overtake. Make your car wide as possible. It's impossible to overtake around here in Monaco. And yet again, Carl is too far back to make a move. He needs to find a decent exit coming out to him, drag him on traction and try and make his way up the hill ahead of him, but he can't quite do so on this occasion. It's just too far behind. But you can see him with the extra tyre advantage he has, extra tyre grip. Somebody hit the wall, I heard that coming out of the Casino Square there as we go into Mirabo. Oh, look at AJ go down the inside here, but shortly we'll run out of room going into the hairpin. And yeah, took advantage while Carl was offline, but Carl was able to go into left-hander very quickly there. Luckily for him, otherwise Adrian would have had him. But coming out of Mirabeau, not Mirabeau, I can't remember the corner now. Portier going into the Novo chicane once again. Very difficult place to make an overtake here as well. More contact between the two. Supermug has got a 3-second time penalty. Like you said, Supermug could have been a good fight here with these guys, but Carl's hit the wall, coming out off to back. Thankfully, hasn't got any damage, it looks like, on the Red Bull. But look at Isa Kushner, gets a bad exit. Here comes Carl up the inside. Both make contact. Carl was late on the brakes. He double locked up, and AJ spun, and he's hit the wall, and he's lost his front wing for good measure too. And he will have to go into the pit lane, unfortunately for him. But wow, few members that been.
Oh my goodness. Isa Kushner unfortunately ran a bit wide. He's going back now to try to overtake Carl again. Tries to make contact. He's into the wall, and Siep now up to P4 here. Does Carl have some damage? He does, and he promotes Siep up to the podium now.
Here comes Supermug down the inside. He puts Isa Kush almost into the wall there. That was so close between the two. And Isa Kush has lost another place. These drivers are absolutely hungry. They're too optimistic. They're over ambitious, not thinking ahead of themselves here. And that's what's causing major contact between these drivers. Big drama going on here in Coat Racing League, and guess who's on the podium? Siep. Not seen him on the podium for quite a while.
Indeed, and Carl made the move past, and then Isa tried to go past Carl here. Carl initially broke himself into the hairpin in sector 3, hit Isa wide. Isa managed to keep ground, and then AJ went to the throttle, I think too quickly, or got rear-ended by a driver, which caused him to lose his front wing into the wall there. Thankfully near the pits, of course, but Isa now coming to the pits. And then after going up to the hill into Casino Square, Isa just hit the back of Carl, and Carl just hit the wall, which caused Siep to overtake it, which going for an unlikely podium to say the least.
Wow, Seaboard Gamer kept out of all the trouble. Look at Supermug down the inside. They both made contact and they're both in the wall together. What carnage this race has shown us. And they both make it out the wall together. Back on the track together too. Carl into 5th place ahead of Supermug. And Pyro has retired. Our championship leader has disappeared from this race. And will that cause a safety car? Plenty of people have crashed there before. AJ sees his teammate retire, and he is out of the race too. And only 10 cars remain. 10 were gone, 10 still to go. Who's going to be the next one to go? I wonder. But wow, what a race this has been.
Oh, that's Yuri's going to retire next. So Yuri, the CPI driver, I think going to be next to retire, unfortunately. But not the greatest driving sound, to say the least here. By just squeezing people off track and just not ideal driving, to say the least here, with Supermug going around the side of car, and car just not able to slow down the car, which caused them to lose both positions to Boompje, who's now up to P4 incredibly on 20 old lap hard tires here. What can Ken do? Ken do it on 5 lap old mediums. He's for sure gonna catch up to Carl and Supermug here, who are on all tires here with 8 laps to go still.
Yep, Ken, 5 lap old tires, 4.4 seconds behind Supermug and Carl, and they both got penalties as well, Supermug and Ken. But proved to be difficult to overtake around here. He can definitely catch, but overtake is another thing. And I wonder, once he gets towards those guys, can he overtake them with like a few laps to go? However, there's one person we've barely spoke about in this race, and that's our man Choye. Choye in P1, untroubled at the front there, has absolutely blitzed this race. What a fantastic dominator performance from him in the Ferrari. Fantastic race from Choye, and we're about, if he keeps it on the road for the next 7 or 8 laps, this man will become the 3rd different winner in the 3rd race in CRL. What a fantastic performance here from Choye here. Ever since qualifying, ever since the lights went out, he's just been absolutely fantastic, and Supermug is in the pits. And Leo too. Indeed. In P2.
Interestingly, Leo, I was maintaining the gap between both drivers, and Leo is slowly but surely starting to close down that gap to Troy here. I think Troy is maybe starting to struggle a bit, or maybe take it a bit easy here. But Leo is definitely getting the gap down here, because the gap was about 6 seconds and now it's getting down to 3.4 seconds. So we should keep an eye on this gap here, even though I don't think a overtake is gonna happen here.
And also Leo's got 3-second time penalties as well, so Troy, all he needs to do is just keep it nice and easy on the track. I think Sully has been playing us for a fall here. I don't think it's going to rain. There's no way it's going to rain in this race. The sun's out. I think Sully's been playing us.
I think so as well. Unfortunately, the sun's fully out now, so I think it's gonna stay dry here for the rest of the race here. But I don't think that's a necessarily bad thing, since we've seen all sorts of chaos happen today around the Monaco Grand Prix in Cone.
And here comes Ken on the back of the Red Bull of Carl. He caught it very quickly. The gap was like 3 seconds, and now it's, as you can see for yourselves, too close for comfort for Carl. And here he is then, going up the wall towards the hill, going into Massenet, into Casino Square. Don't want to risk any stupid move. Look, because Carl's gone wide. I presume he's got front wing damage due to contact with Supermug there. And Ken then, where will he pick his moment? Carl defends the inside line there. There's no doing going into Mirabo now, going into the hairpin. Too far behind to make any sort of lunge then. It's just going to be out of Portier, going into the Nova chicane.
Indeed, indeed. We did see say that Carl was struggling, of course, with that broken front wing, so Ken is officially gonna close that gap down. But where is he gonna overtake? Because Carl is just gonna make his car very wide, and even if Ken overtakes, as he loses nearly the car into the wall, nearly the room in qualifying, and even if he overtakes, is he gonna create a 3-second gap, as he has, I think, 3 seconds of penalties. Let me quickly check. He's indeed got 3 seconds as Carl really struggling on his tires right now. What he can do, I think this is his best opportunity to overtake here, as he's going now down the inside. Carl defending the inside very harshly, but fair at the same time here, making the wide Red Bull, but doesn't have the traction anymore, and Ken has gone up to P5. Can he now make that 3-second gap work? I think he can.
Got to. He had the pace before. Why not now? He made the V. He overtook it. Well, he was 3.4 behind, and now he's overtaken him. He can surely make up a 3-second gap. Yuri's the next one to overtake him. Carl has no traction, no grip on traction whatsoever. He can't pick it up on the traction at all with the broken front wing and all the tyres as well. Explains why he's struggling. No grip around here. Oh, he's hit the wall going into Portier, and here comes Yuri then. Yuri will fancy his chances that he stays behind for the time being. He knows Carl's without VRS due to the flashing light on the back of that Red Bull car. And Carl might outbrake himself here, which he does. Yuri will go for a switchback if he can, but the car's too wide, and Carl's able to stay ahead for the time being. I noticed that Carl outbrakes himself all the time going into heavy braking zones. That's where Yuri is able to pounce on the traction there. As you can see him go wide once again. Might go wide into Raskas with the understeer he has on that Red Bull. As you can see there, can Yuri get a good exit coming out the final corner to get himself set up for turn number 1? Just a bit too far back, unfortunately for him, but it might get him out of turn number 1 due to the understeer that Carl is suffering. Gets a decent exit.
Look how much AJ is gaining time because of these guys just battling here. So AJ definitely has got an opportunity to score a P6 finish here if Yuri does not overtake Carl here. It's going to be interesting here, and maybe even Superman. If he is really fast at the end, then he could maybe catch up to this battle as well, but the gap is massive.
Oh, Yuri's gone out wide there, just broke himself a little bit as AJ claws his way towards Yuri. But look at Troye and Leo, the gap has dropped down massively. The gap is 1.3 now.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. He's catching in massively, is Leo. Keep an eye on him. Troye might be under a bit of pressure, but bear in mind though, if Troye does what everybody else is doing, just keeps that car as wide as possible, both on the same tyres, only 1 lap difference, which is not big difference whatsoever. So all he needs to do is get a good exit and keep his car wide as possible, and he should be able to stay in P1. But Leo's getting ever so closer. I want to keep an eye on these 3. Look, oh, AJ's hit the wall once again! And I don't think he sustained any damage. No carbon fibre, no pieces came off the car. But he rode the curb going into the swimming pool section. Car just unsettled and just hit the wall with his nose, and thankfully kept it intact. So lucky escape there from AJ, but Yuri gets a decent exit and finally out drags him, and he moves himself up into P6 there. So Yuri got to our turn number 1, able to get him on traction, pick up the throttle earlier, use the ERS to out drag him, and moved himself up into P6. And now it's AJ's turn. However, the gap between the top 2 brought down by 1.2 now. We'll see the battle between those two. The gap, there's 2 laps left to go in this race. The race has flown by, absolutely flown by. Major chaos around here, and we'll see what happens then with 2 laps left to go in this race. And Leo's getting ever so closer, right behind the Ferrari of Troye. Carl, however, under big pressure from AJ right behind him. The tyre difference and the grip difference is huge, and that's why AJ able to pounce on him.
Indeed, there's only 2 laps to go after this, as the gap has come down a second between Troye and Leo here. Leo is pushing really hard as he picks up another 3-second penalty, and that will steal that battle for sure. Troye has got the pressure off his shoulders now, as there's pretty much no way Leo will gain 6 seconds, even if he overtakes here. But he does have a bad exit. It seems like Troye is losing a lot of time in the final sector, as Leo actually loses the back end, pushing too hard now, trying to go for the win here around Monaco here.
Leo could pit if he wants to on a brand new set of softs and go for the fastest lap, because he's got a big gap over Sieb and Co behind, as well as Bompier will be under pressure then from Ken. Ken's caught up quite a lot. He's a force to be reckoned with in these later stages of this race, and Bompier will find himself a Mercedes right behind him, defending once more again. And we'll see if Ken can snatch away P4 from Bompier. Was able to pull away from Supermug and Yuri last time out, and now he's got a Haas ahead of him, which is not a good sight to see, because he was stuck behind a Haas. Majority of the race was the Mercedes of Gen, which was Jack, and now he finds himself another Haas in his way. But how much longer will he stay behind him, I wonder? Can Bompier make his car as wide as possible? You can see Ken taking different lines to try and get better exit there from Bompier, but will he try and get him down into turn 1? If he gets a decent exit coming out of Anthony knows then with the DRS wide open, using the ERS as well, and Bompier does not really put too much of a fight, he lets him go essentially there, and Ken moves himself up into P4. Good job there from Ken. Started in P20 I think he did. Yes he did, started in P20, he's up into P4. That's what well, he's got a 3-second time penalty, but that doesn't matter really. But it's still my drive of the day, I think.
Yeah, it's probably up there in terms of drive of the day. I mean, Troye has put up a really good performance. Bombi just did a really good thing there, just let him go, because he knows Ken has got a 3-second penalty.
But what if he pulls away?
He won't pull, yeah, unless he pulls away, which he's currently doing, but I don't expect him to pull away a second now. Bombi is really struggling on his tires now, and actually Ken is really using the tires to advantage. So we should keep an eye out on that gap, as Ken could be on for a P4 finish here around Monaco, which would be an amazing result despite starting in last place. But we see now on the final lap here, the battle between Leo and Troye here. Leo just has not found a way past here, unfortunately.
As Supermug is right behind the Red Bulls. You can see the leaders in the background. They're about to be lapped, but the laps are running out for them to be laps. Will Supermug try and force one up the inside of Carl? He's too far back for the time being. Leo's too far back unless he gets a really good exit coming out of here in the swim pool section, which he doesn't do, and that lead will belong towards Troye. Troye has done a fantastic job in this race. All credit to him, making no mistakes, picking up no penalties. He's going to come across the line now to win the Monaco Grand Prix ahead of ILT Leo in P2. Phenomenal job there. Fantastic drive there for CPI Troye. Absolutely deserves it. Keeps it clean, no incidents, no penalties, and he's able to clear onto the lead there in P1. Like his teammate Resify, who unfortunately finished in P13, who started in P1, in the pole position, the pole man. Troye got a really good start off the line, was able to jump his teammate as well for good measure, and until he let him through, because he knew his teammates were better tyres than him. And Super tried to move on Carl, but he can't work out. He's back into P9 where he was before. Sieb kept it nice and clean. Will finish in P3. What a fantastic drive from the Dutchman, who desperately needs some good results after poor races, and finally he gets it here in Monaco. He comes across the line now to finish in P3. Ken, fantastic race from him, will finish in P5 with a 3-second time penalty on his back, and Bumpy will finish in P4 with Yuri will finish in P6 ahead of AJ in P7. Carl keeps Supermug just behind him for the time being, will finish in P8 and P9, and Isa Kush already crossed the line. Oh!
As now the race has ended here. What an amazing Monaco Grand Prix. I don't think we really expected that to be the race we had in our heads, but we certainly enjoyed it, for sure. I don't know about you, Jamie, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, it wasn't boring. I thought it'd be more boring, but no safety cars came out. It was a decent race. Lots of entertainment that was happening. It was quite a good race to witness. A lot of dirty racing because I know a lot of drivers were desperate to make those moves. Obviously, you got to try it here in Monaco, but yeah, you got to try it, and sometimes it just doesn't pay off, and therefore you end up with lots of contacts and dirty racing because you're just so impatient to stay behind or drive on all the tyres.
Indeed, indeed. But what an incredible race, and Troy the deserved winner, picking up no penalties as well and just keeping it clean. And might have struggled at the end of his medium stint, and with Leo really putting on the pressure here, but he managed to keep it clean, and that's how you win a Monaco Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Charles Leclerc. I don't want to hear that one, but. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the race. Hopefully all you viewers enjoyed the race as well, watching with me and Stevan. And yeah, plenty of drivers could have been the podium, but mistakes were made in the process. Shout out to Ken, P20 to P6. Wow.
Oh, the reason why Troy was slowing down because he had fuel issues. Are we gonna do podium interviews or?
Can you invite them, please? Yeah, we'll do podium interviews. Why not? It's a different change.
I'll invite Sieb and Leo.
And you want me to invite
Troy?
Troy?
Yes, I'll do that.
I've invited Troy, so hopefully he joins, and I can't wait to see what he has to say.
I invited both. I can add one or more player. What? Can I add some play? Wait, I can't add Leo to the party, but I'll see if has joined. That's good.
Is it privacy settings? You can't invite him.
Probably. If I'll try one more time, and if it doesn't work, then heyo. Yep, I can't add him because of settings.
Oh,
it is.
Your disappointment, Leo.
But anyway, we have Troy here in the party now. Hopefully he can hear us. Troy, are you here?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
First of all, congratulations on the win here around Monaco here. A very special win for you here. How much you feel?
Yeah, man, I feel good, man. After my two first races, I haven't really had good results, so I feel so happy and so surprised, to be honest. This was probably the track I expected it to least, but I guess when you get to be out in front and stay out of the trouble, I guess that's to your advantage quite big time. So I'm very happy with today, to be honest.
Indeed, indeed. I noticed that you're a pad player. Where did you find your pace all of a sudden? Because I know most of the guys on the pad, including Sieb, couldn't match your pace in qualifying nor in a race.
I don't know, to be honest, man. I have never liked this track just because I am on pad. But yeah, it just clicked, to be honest, for some weird reason, man. It just yeah, it just, like, I drove without thinking, to be honest, almost yeah, it just went manually. I don't know how to explain it.
Perfect, perfect. What was the call behind letting Rest fight through at the beginning? Were you in a party together, or did you just think, oh, Rest 5 was going to be quicker in the early stage, so I'm just going to let him go? What was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so basically I wasn't expecting to jump him at the start. I wasn't in a part with him or anything like that, but he was on meds, I was on hards. I knew it was like, it's a hard decision when you're fighting for the win, but at the same time I wanted to do what's best for us all. So I felt like it's better to let him go, try to make him build a big enough gap so he don't end up behind people when he decides to box. But yeah, his race turned out to be quite unfortunate. I think he got damaged or something. So yeah, that plan didn't really work out. But at least we tried our best, and yeah, I just wanted to let him through because I knew he had better pace than me since he was on mediums and everything.
Jamie, do you have any questions for our winning drive today?
Nice to speak to you again. It's been quite a while, hasn't it, Troy, eh?
Yeah, man, it's been a while, man. It's, I don't think I've ever been on a podium in this league, to be honest. So to do it around Monaco and for it to be a win as well is it's amazing, man. And hopefully I can catch up in the championship now as well with it.
Does this race win boost your confidence now for the next upcoming races?
I guess confidence has always been there, but yeah, things don't always click, and today it did, and yeah, hopefully they continue to do so. We'll see.
When towards the end of the race, Stevan noticed that you were running out of fuel. Were you ever nervous running out of fuel in the end? Did you just have enough to save it, and were you nervous about Leo potentially overtaking you too?
I don't know, to be honest. It wasn't that much fuel I had to save up to, and I know it's a track like where it's difficult to pass, so a lot of things had to go his way for him to get the win, because first of all he had to pass me, and then he had to get that 3 or 6 second gaps or whatever. So I knew that I had like some margin to work with anyways. But yeah, it gave me a bit of a worry for sure.
Yeah, an absolute fantastic job. And how are you feeling for the next race, which is in France, by the way?
I don't know. France is, I think, a track where quality is going to be important again, because it's just a long DRS train. It's not really a track that requires that much skill when it comes to the race. So it's just finding those extra hundreds in the quali, I guess.
Well, you got a race to watch back, because my friend, because there was a lot of drama behind you, which you avoided, and you chose the perfect strategy as well to stay out long on the hards and make sure you rejoin behind none of the nonsense that happened behind you as well on the mediums. So that strategy worked out. Was it always hard to mediums then, but without the safety car?
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I know how Monaco is, and I know that the gap from the winner usually doesn't how do I say it, doesn't show the real pace or whatever. But yeah, I just saw them swapping positions. I just saw this big train from P3, I think it was, and even before the race, coming into the race, I said that I need to be as high up as possible, because it doesn't matter if you're like 4th or 5th and 3rd somehow messes up and drives with a yellow wing for the rest of the race, then literally 3rd to 20th will all be driving in that train no matter what. So I knew that I had to just be as far or as much or as close to first as possible, if I may put it as that, to avoid someone in front making a mistake and keeping us all up, and get involved in that mess.
Thank you for that, Troy. Pleasure to speak to you again, and happy for you on the podium. You fully deserve it, keeping out of trouble and getting no penalties, keeping it very clean and consistent, out of the walls as well. Were there any moments from you, did you hit any walls? Because obviously we didn't watch you most of the race because there was loads of battles behind you. Did you tap any walls? Did you make a few mistakes now and then while you're on your own?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it was the second lap, where
But just the
where
second
my car
lap.
was, when my car literally turned like almost 90 degrees. I had to save it before
Oh, I
getting
saw
the
that.
wall. But
Yeah,
apart from
I saw that.
before that, or apart from that, it wasn't really anything, I think.
Yeah, that was the only mistake I saw you do on the second lap when you lost out Portia, but you saved it. So, yeah, nice one to rectify that one and keep it going with a win. So, congrats once again. And we move on to third place because second place isn't here. Leo, unfortunately, a fellow IRT driver, Leo, but we couldn't make it. We'll have him as a friend next time if he does join the podium again. Sieb, hello, mate. You were in a hectic race because you had lots of things happening around you. Like you saw loads of battles involved. You saw lots of people spinning, lots of debris everywhere. And tell us how you managed to keep it on the track and essentially take third place. Yeah. Were you very surprised with the outcome of this race? I know you've had a lot of bad luck in recent races because a lot of them where you've well had lots of misfortune. But how come? Why Monaco? How come you got a podium in Monaco out of all places, even the most difficult track? What chance? What chance? Sorry.
go on
What?
then.
Oh, what chance in the race did you think the podium? Do you think you were getting a podium? Your turn, Stephen. Congratulations, Steve, by the way.
Yes, congratulations, Seep. I don't think you expected to be on the podium around this track, since it's a real track, but what do you think after qualifying? Of course, you were qualifying 11th, and yeah, so, but what do you think of the race, essentially, with all the chaos happening around you, and you just talk about it giving 80% throughout the race, but what do you think of the chaos ahead with Carl, Supermug, all racing, and then we have the Mercedes of, or no, the Haas of Jack being the widest Haas ever. So what do you think about those? What do you think about that? And one more question: what do you think of the rest of the season? Because of course you got last week, you got a P4 in round one. I didn't know you got P7 or something, right? I don't know what you got in China. Well, you managed to back it up with a P4 and a P3 right now. So what do you think for the rest of the season then?
We'll start with France. How do you think with France?
Yes.
Ooh. See, here's an interesting one. We're gonna go back to qualifying. What happens between you and Supermug?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. No, I don't know. What did you say? What did you? I don't know. What do
I
you?
don't know.
What do you report you? No, I just remembered because I was thinking about qualifying, and I remembered when you invalidated your first lap. Then you came across, then Superbook hit the back of you. Luckily, none of you got foul play script notices. Well, see, congrats on your first podium since whenever you got your last podium. Yeah, I think I remember that. That was a hectic race too. But congrats, Steve, for making a return on the podium in Monaco. You deserve it, and good luck to the rest of the season. Stefan, thank you so much for commenting with me. This was a dramatic race, to say the least. Absolutely dramatic. Any last words, Stefan?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, incredible race here. Seep, because you got a podium. Enjoy some yogurt, my man. I know you love it, so enjoy some yogurt. Perfect. And Jamie, great commentary again today. I can't wait to be back next week, and hopefully you guys were still in the chat right now. OG, if you're on the chat right now, but hopefully we get to see you guys back again next week for another amazing race here around for the Cone Racing League.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for Tier 1. I hope you all enjoyed it. There was plenty of action to take through for the rest of your evenings. Watch it back, and we'll see you all next week at France. Join us at 8 past 30. 8 past 30, what am I doing? 8:30 for next Thursday for Cone at the French GP at Castellet. No longer on the calendar, by the way, 2023. But we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now.